Greetings, my friends! This is Yanis Kombatsiaris with the Apocalyptic Nights, and today we're going to talk about why MMA fighters break their hands so often. Now, if you're watching MMA, you might have seen that many times somebody at the end of the match says that I might have broken my hand, or people say that I break my hands at practice all the time. What do they really mean when they say that? In most of those instances, what they really mean is that they actually dislocated a finger, which means that one of their fingers got out of the socket and got in again, and during the process damaged a lot of ligaments and nerves, and really hurts and gets swollen, fills up with blood. Some other times, fewer in number, they actually might mean that they broke an actual finger, or maybe even the palm inside here, those bones. Now, one of the reasons why I'm making this video is because this year I actually dislocated my thumb, in other words, broke my hands, 3 times. And it's the same thumb, and I'm really pissed off with that, and I don't want to let it happen again. Because it happened 3 times, I actually investigated it, researched it a bit, and did some thinking on it. You see, I have a very lengthy past in martial arts, and I never broke a hand while I was doing, Japanese martial arts, where we were not using any gloves. And we were punching really hard and also practicing on hard surfaces and punching each other in sparring or training. And I never ever dislocated anything or broke anything. But ever since I moved more to this MMA, kickboxing direction, I did have that problem 3 times, like I said. So, after all that lengthy investigation, I did find the culprit. This is a 12-ounce boxing glove. And I would say it is probably the reason why MMA fighters break their hands. You see, when my hand is in here, I'm not really punching with a closed fist. Check this out. My thumb is sticking out, it's not folding under the fist, and my hand isn't really closed so that I strike with this part, with the 2 knuckles, but it's more punching like that. It's more punching with those knuckles. So I'm punching like this when I'm punching with this glove. And this is pretty much fine when you're having a boxing match or when you're practicing in boxing, because all that padding will protect your hand from breaking, and also the form of the glove will keep your fingers in place and will absorb a lot of shock. So nothing bad will happen. But when you get this habit of punching with gloves, and then you try to punch pads like this one. This is a very small pad. It's not like the boxing pads for boxing gloves. It's more like for practicing with your bare fist. Then what happens is that you may punch with your fist not completely closed properly, and that may result in you dislocating a finger. While if it was strongly, rigidly closed properly, the fist has to be stiff, not the rest of the arm, because then you cannot punch, but the fist has to be stiff at the end. Then, if you do it like that, you're fine. If you relax it and have it like not completely closed properly, then you may dislocate a finger, and that's what happened to me. Now, if you have seen some boxer or kickboxer training, you might have noticed that sometimes what they do is that they walk and punch, and you may see some people that they punch like that. They don't punch with a fist. They punch like by throwing their hands in front. This is something that comes from that habit and also reinforces that habit, and it's really bad, because when I was practicing Japanese martial arts, it was unthinkable for us to punch without closing our fist properly, because we were punching so much in the air, and the form and the technique was very important, and for that reason this was protecting us. So how I dislocated my thumb 3 times in the same way was not when punching with the boxing gloves, because you get the habit from there, but when you use them it's fine. But when you go into punching with a naked hand, then you kind of keep the habit stays, and I mean, you cannot do otherwise. The boxing glove doesn't close any more than it is built to close. And then when you punch, it's not exactly stiff. When you punch, I was punching, some pads like this. And while punching, one of those things may happen. Usually what happens is that the thumb is resting in an awkward place as it is supposed to. Well, with the punch it's not the most natural place. But if it's a bit loose, if this area is a bit loose, what may happen is that, I don't know if you can see, that the thumb may actually get pressed by the glove like that and dislocate it, or the other way. I would probably say, due to the slight pain I still feel, even though I have rehabilitated my thumb almost entirely by now, I would say from the pain that it probably happens the other way, like something like that happens. Something like that, like it's stretched outwards. Now I would say the thumb problems are the most common ones when punching somebody and, you know, breaking your hands in MMA. But the second most common is those knuckles here breaking, or the outer bones of the hand breaking. And that also can have, you know, a reason. And here is kind of where also Japanese martial arts are at fault for the most part. Because what they teach you is to punch with those two knuckles. And here's the strange part. This is correct. But in my opinion, you have to learn to punch with all the knuckles. Why? Because in a static situation, when you're punching the air or a target, yeah, that's the perfect form, and that's how you're going to punch a static target, that is flat. But when you're punching a target that is moving, like a head, and it's not also flat at all, it's round, you don't know how you will connect. You really cannot predict or make sure that you will connect with those two knuckles. So if you see my hand, you will see that those two knuckles are much bigger and stronger, while in a normal hand all the knuckles are the same, pretty much. Because, you know, of all the training I've done with those two knuckles and, you know, punching on surfaces and stuff. But that's a bit of a problem, because those two knuckles are, compared to those, pretty weak. And they can easily break. I haven't had it happen so far, but after this research I made, I'm going to incorporate some exercises that I will also show you in videos about how to strengthen them so that they don't break in a punch, you know, because a punch may actually catch somebody like that at the end, and then you may break those. And that's how MMA fighters sometimes break their knuckles. Then, just to examine all the possibilities, the third possibility, which is like the wider category, but the one that happens almost never, is, you know, strange angles that your hand may hit something, really strange angles and unpredictable that you cannot really prepare for or imagine. And also, of course, the possibility that you block a kick or some hard strike like a knee, I don't know, and then you break your hand this way. But, you know, for those things, you cannot really prepare specifically for that kind of strike. You just need to harden your hands. So in that spirit, and after all the research I've made, I will actually start posting some exercises that are excellent for hardening your fists and your hands against breakages of any kind. This can also be applied to HEMA because, as you know, well, the most common ones, I wouldn't say it's dislocations, but it's mostly actually breaking stuff. When you break your hands, you really break them because, you know, a wooden stick hits them or a plastic stick. So I will be posting some exercises in very short videos that will be showing you how to harden your fists and generally how to strengthen your hands against any kind of stress or impact. So that's it for today. I want to thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for more material on the topic, and don't forget to like and comment.